Hello again. This is Nick Roach. I have a new microphone. One or two people have pointed out the previous videos have contained the noises of one or two birds, wild geese, coots, and the fluttering of pigeons and the other birds eating on the bird feeders behind me. Apparently can be a bit distracting and even interfere with the voice. So hopefully the little microphone will solve all that. This talk I'm going to call That's Interesting. Now that bird, I don't know if the microphone picked that up. On the last one that would have been very loud, so we'll see. So that's interesting. Now recently I remembered one of the early talks I attended of Barry Long, the teacher whose teaching I followed, and in a way I'm still living the teaching now because it became my life quite quickly. In an early talk, and I was 18 years old, in an audience, probably in Earl's Court, it might have been, or it might have been up in Leicester in England, at Leicester University, a residential seminar. He announced quite sternly, as he often would, I am not interesting. I am not interesting. And he followed it with an explanation as to why he was not interesting. And I understood what he was saying, but it wasn't relevant to me at the time. So I heard it, and then I moved on. It was all entertainment to me anyway. I was practicing dissolving the emotion, being conscious. That was my life. Anything else he said was just, as he put it, something for the mind to focus on while the work is being done, energetically. But now it's come back to me. And now I'm understanding, for me, why it was a big thing for him at the time to make this point. You see, having written 2 books about 10 years ago now, and my spiritual autobiography published at the end of 2016, almost a year ago, I thought anyone who read particularly the autobiography couldn't help but be amazed, not at me, it's not about me, but at the story, the description, and how clear and obvious it is when one's facing and dissolving emotion. And that path, it will be evident, self-evident, how valuable this process is to face and dissolve emotion, to live a conscious and responsible life, the effect it can have on one's inner state, but more so on one's outside life, the circumstances as well. It's incredible. I'll say life-changing, goes without saying, but amazing. And the book also, the bottom line throughout it, the 400 pages, the 25 years I kept the notes for, all my experiences and insights. The bottom line is that the emotion, one's own inner state, is creating the outside world, the outside environment, every moment, each and every moment. And one's emotional mental state directly affects what happens outside, each and every moment. Incredible. But invariably, the bottom line of the feedback, a lot of it I'm receiving, is that's interesting. That's interesting. I enjoyed it, yeah, it's interesting. Now, if I can put this into perspective a little bit, interesting, the term, means it holds my interest temporarily, for a little while. It holds my interest. Mildly entertaining. It's like someone's been to the supermarket and the plastic bags they're giving out, some of them are different colours, and you're telling someone and they go, that's interesting. But what have we got here? For myself, we have the story of an extremely unhappy 17, 18-year-old who demands from life that life show him there's a purpose for it, a purpose for the unhappiness, for the suffering in the world, or he's not prepared to accept it. And it's not long before he finds the teaching of a Western spiritual master who is very strong, very strict, very stern, but he learns how to make emotion conscious, how to face and dissolve the emotion, how he is creating his environment each and every moment. But this teacher explains, the emotion within you now is the emotion you've already made throughout your life. So by making emotion conscious, the emotion within you, it is in effect, literally, returning back through the hell of oneself, the emotional hell, all the trauma, all the pain, all the unhappiness. Every time in your life you become unhappy and the pain, the emotions come up and you've gone into it and thought about it and worried about it, fed it, indulged it, it's got bigger and bigger in the psyche. So what you're doing is learning to hold it and dissolve this emotion you've already made, and literally returning through the hell of yourself, the hell you've already made, but aware and consciously. No matter how painful it is, like in the Bible, though I walk through the valley of death, I shall fear no evil. It is like that. It's very strong. You have to be strong. Just endure it. And quickly I had the insights and experiences and realizations about how this place worked. I say quickly, the pain kept coming every week, every day in a way. The emotion came up and I was facing it all day, every day. For 10 years, first of all, before it had become solid and strong enough that I knew enough. So I began teaching and I wrote the books, the first 2 books. But the story describes, the autobiography, a further period, several years, where it will continue to be difficult before again that the emotion ended, the pain, the bottom fell out of it, and I was freed finally. And in the book I referred to that, as I found it, referred to as no self or liberation. They're just words. But one becomes self-realized, at one with everything, God realized, awake in one's own dream of existence. And in these videos and my books, I'm teaching other people how to do this. How to face and dissolve the emotion, how to grow in consciousness, how to become free of unhappiness and emotional suffering, how to be fully conscious and fully aware and at one with life. And people watch the videos, read the books, and the response might be, that's interesting. And I hope you can see that those words mean to the one speaking them, they're just what they've experienced is only intellectual, entertaining, not life-changing. It's not important enough for them to take it on board and change their life. Nor does it have to be. There's no reason why it has to be. But it's worth noting that if you find this interesting, then you might have missed the point, if I can say that. Because this is not interesting. This is not, shouldn't be, perhaps. It's not entertaining for the mind, but you can make it so. This is a story which you can understand in your own experience of how to realize yourself as the one being behind all existence, behind everything that occurs here. Everything in your life that you've experienced happens within the space that you are. You are it. Can't be anybody else, can it? Can't be anyone else. Everything is one. So you have to be it. And that is not interesting. Being told that you are the one being is not interesting. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's life-changing. If you get it. If you get it. So this is not to be thought about and played around with so much. It's to be lived. And if you do live it, if you try it as I've described, facing and dissolving the emotion, hold it, be strong, and watch it happen. Watch the emotion dissolve. Watch the situation outside change as you dissolve the emotion. And you realize that your inner state does determine what happens outside of you. And that's amazing. And then you keep doing it. And you realize there's no difference between the space inside and the space outside. They're just one space. And the physical body is part of the physical appearance, which all occurs as an appearance within the one being which you are, within the one mind. And this cannot be interesting. Not if you really get it. This is realizing you are the one being that's creating everything that you experience and have ever experienced, ever will experience. Everything that happens does so within you, within the space that you are. So now I understand why in that talk all those years ago, 25 years ago or more, when Barry was so strict, I am not interesting. It's because he was teaching and trying to teach, and people were coming back to him saying they thought as a compliment, "That's interesting, Barry, interesting," almost like a pat on the head. "That's nice, run along now. Yeah, thank you for your few words, that entertained me for a moment, I've got stuff to do now." So I get it now. In trying to teach this, he's up against the mind and the emotions of all the people he's talking to, trying to get everybody to see within them the space and connect with that, to feel it, to realize it, to become it. And all the time he was getting the thinking mind and emotions coming back saying, thank you, we found that mildly entertaining. It's okay, it's part of the game, doesn't really matter. But the point is, if you get this, it's far more than interesting. It's self-realization, God-realization, spiritual enlightenment, becoming one with everything, becoming awake, realizing I am the one being where all this is happening. And it's not interesting. It's far more than that. Thank you.